Flying FPV drones is like nothing else. It's fast, it's thrilling, and it offers a perspective you can't get any other way. But getting started can feel a little overwhelming, especially with all the gear and technical details involved. Well, in this video, that's what we're gonna solve. So, let's get to it. Okay guys, in this video, I'm gonna break down everything you need to know to get started with FPV drones. To what simulators to fly in, to the basics, to the gear that I use. So let's get into it. First things first, what is an FPV drone? So it's a first person point of view. So basically that means you can really immerse yourself into the drone and you can see exactly what it's seeing in real time through the goggles, which is a crazy thing to actually experience. But what's the difference between an FPV drone and a normal commercial drone? Well, commercial drones, you'd fly through a controller, and FPV drones give you the mobility to actually do flips, dive down mountain ridges, and push the drone to a whole new limit because it's fully manual. A commercial drone isn't fully manual. It hovers on its own, it stops itself on its own, and this allows you to push it to crazy lengths to get some crazy shots. But you also do have to have all the gear in order to pull off flying an FPV drone. You'd have to have a drone, controller, and goggles just to take your first flight. Okay, so let's talk about gear. This is one of the #1 questions I get asked when people see a video. The first thing they ask me is, what drone do you fly on? This was actually my first FPV drone. It's the DJI FPV, the original. And I think this drone's amazing. I don't want to say I necessarily recommend it. I think it is the fastest, most intense drone. If you want to put a GoPro or another camera on top, it will record crazy footage. But also, it's heavy, the batteries don't last long, and also more risk with a heavier drone. If you drop it or something, it's gonna get banged up. I would recommend these two for sure. If you have a lower budget, get the original Avata. But if you're getting into drones and you want to get into FPV seriously, the Avata 2 has the best of both worlds. It's light, but also it's quieter, and it has an insane camera on it, which this thing doesn't have the best camera. And obviously the original FPV had a horrible camera, but you could put a GoPro on top of it. I don't think I've put a GoPro on this before. It does not fly good. And I think you can put a GoPro on this, but with this drone, you wouldn't need to. So this is great. Budget, everything too, pricing. I think this drone would be great for any beginners that are gonna step up into the FPV. And actually, this is the drone that Allie is gonna start flying too. Ironically enough, she might be flying it in this video because she's been doing all the FPV simulators and practicing. So we might actually get her to fly this today. So stick around to see if she actually does. That'd be sick. So you have all your gear, but before you actually take to the skies, I would really recommend flying in a simulator. Not only you can practice crashing, but you can also practice maneuvering really close to objects without having to risk your own gear or the safety of others. So I'd recommend Trip, FPV, Liftoff, and Uncrashed. I personally use Uncrashed the most, but all of them have their different pros and cons depending on how you like to fly FPV. So once you've been practicing the simulator long enough and you actually think you're ready to go for your first flight, I'd recommend going to a big open field just so you can't put anyone else at risk, and you can actually practice the basics and not have to be thinking about crashing into a tree or losing control of it. Before you actually go on your flight, make sure if you have this controller, you have to open up the back of it. I can't even get it. But these will be springy. This one cannot be springy. It's hard to describe. I can link other YouTube videos on how to actually loosen this up, but just keep in mind, before your first flight, you have to loosen this up. Even DJI will show you when you first get this how to do it, but it's just because an FPV drone has to be turned off and then this is your propeller. So you don't want it to be automatically shooting off on you. So it's hard to describe. I'll link something below. Just keep that in mind before your first flight. So once you're comfortable with the basics is where you can start experimenting with more techniques like rolls, flips, or even FPV racing. All these different things you can practice over a period of time, so don't feel like you're pressured into doing these advanced moves when you first start. Take it one step at a time. Every flight's a chance to try something new, so don't be afraid to explore different techniques and styles like flying cinematic, freestyle, and even FPV racing. Okay guys, so Allie got this drone and she still has not flown it yet. I think this would be a great time to actually see if she's been following the steps and if she's actually ready to go and fly. So let's see, because this would be so sick to film. This is the drone right here. Do you want to go fly the new Avata? You never flew it. You got it and you never flew it.
I know. Do you think I'm ready though?
I think you could. I definitely think you can.
I feel like okay. I have been putting a lot of hours, so I feel like...
So she's been flying the simulator non-stop, and you can kind of tell when you get to a certain level of progression because she dropped her time in half within the past couple of days, which means she's really getting it down. So if you're down to go, we'll go.
Okay. I think we should.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
I'll get the drone. Okay, let's go. Okay guys, we just got here. There's a lot of open areas to fly, which is essential for your first flight. So let's go. Let's get these shots. You excited? Okay, so we just got here. This should be a good location because again, it's an empty soccer field. So kind of at this point abandoned too. So it's away from everyone else, public park. This is a location you want to fly at. So we're gonna get set up and then we're gonna actually do her first launch. So let's see how this goes. Okay, Allie's about to do her first launch. She's getting ready right now.
That already feels really bizarre. I can't see anything else. Okay. Yeah, we gotta go over there.
Okay, she's getting what it feels like to be an FPV pilot now. Look how much stuff she has in her hands just to do a simple flight.
Ridiculous. The setup process is just too much.
It's a lot longer than most people think. They think it's just you put the drone in like a normal drone and you launch it. On an FPV drone, it's just not like that. You always have to plug in so many different wires. Look how much stuff she has. I mean, that is crazy. Okay, you ready though?
Where do you think I should set it?
Just slide up, remember, just very small movements. Oh, there you go. Okay, now move it out there. There you go. So you should be able to see it now. And now you can take off.
It's not the simulator anymore, that's for sure.
You're doing great though. Yeah, it's right there. You did great.
So it literally just comes home. It like comes down.
Yeah. Okay guys. Okay, that was a super fun video to make. Come out here, try it for yourself. With an FPV drone, there is so many opportunities to really have fun and push your limits. But again, take it step by step, and if you follow the steps in this video, there's no way you won't be flying like a pro in no time. She did great. This is her first time actually flying, and she killed it.
Yeah, so I was flying really high up in the sky, again because this is my first flight, and it is very like intimidating, I'm not gonna lie, but I need more practice getting closer to objects and closer to the ground just for our trip to make sure that it's worth it.
But that just goes to show she does a really good job in the simulator, but the simulator just does not compare to actually flying this, where there's full risk involved. If you crash your drone, you have to pay for everything out of pocket. If you hit someone, that could also be really bad. So practice so much more in the simulator and then come out here and have very simple flight tests and slowly get more confident. So yeah, that was a cool video. You did a great job.
Yeah, you move around a lot quicker than you think too. So it's like 1 second I'm here, literally in 2 or 3 seconds I'm on the other side of the park. So it's a lot.
It's a lot more intense than people probably think too. So but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. This weather's been horrible. We've had to wait out this weather all day. Goodness gracious. And then now it's not raining.